You learned about the water cycle. You memorized the causes of World War I. You probably still remember, for absolutely no useful reason, that the mitochondria is a powerhouse of the cell. But when it came to the one subject that would affect literally every decision you make for the rest of your life, how to manage money, build wealth, avoid debt traps, and actually retire one day, your school went completely silent. And here in Australia, that silence has consequences. Right now, the average Australian household is carrying over $250,000 in mortgage debt. Credit card debt across the country sits at $17 billion. And according to the Australian Securities and Investments Commission, more than half of Australians are experiencing financial stress, not because they don't earn enough, but because nobody ever taught them the rules of the game. That stops today. My name is Blank, and I'd spent years studying why some Australians build serious wealth on ordinary salaries, while others earn six figures and still feel broke every fortnight. The difference is never luck. It's never about having rich parents or winning the property lottery in 1987. It's financial literacy. And today, I'm going to teach you everything school should have covered, but never did. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly where you stand financially right now. You'll have a realistic plan that actually works for an Australian income in an Australian economy, with Australian taxes and superannuation and all the complexity that comes with it. And most importantly, you'll know how to start building genuine wealth, even if you're currently living paycheck to paycheck. We're going to cover budgeting that doesn't feel like punishment, emergency funds that actually protect you, debt strategies that make mathematical sense, investing basics that won't put you to sleep, superannuation, the most powerful wealth tool most Australians completely ignore, and yes, we'll tackle the big one, whether you should buy or rent in one of the most expensive housing markets on Earth. This isn't generic American financial advice with the dollar sign swapped out. This is built for Australia, for your income, your tax brackets, your super, your cost of living, your market. So if you've ever felt confused, frustrated, or quietly terrified about your financial future, stay with me, because we're about to change that. Hit subscribe. Let's get into it. Before you can build wealth, you need to know your starting point. And most Australians have absolutely no idea what their starting point actually is. Not because they're bad with money, because nobody ever showed them how to look. Your financial position comes down to three numbers, just three. And once you know them, everything else becomes clearer. Number one, your net worth. Net worth is simply everything you own minus everything you owe. Add up your savings accounts, your superannuation balance, your investment accounts, your car's value, your home if you own one. Now, subtract everything you owe. Your mortgage, your HES help debt, your car loan, your credit card balances, your Afterpay and ZipPay balances, yes, those count, and any personal loans. The number you're left with is your net worth. It could be positive, it could be negative. Either way, it's your starting line, not your finish line. Here's what the average looks like in Australia right now, so you can see where you stand. According to the Australian Bureau of Statistics, the median net worth for Australians aged 25 to 34 is around $130,000, but that number is heavily influenced by property owners. If you're renting in your 20s or early 30s, your net worth is likely far lower than that median, and that is completely normal given the current environment. By 35 to 44, the median climbs to around $320,000. By 45 to 54, it's approaching $600,000, largely driven by property equity and growing superannuation balances. If your number is lower than these, don't panic. Medians include people who bought property in 2010 for $400,000 and now have $800,000 in equity just from doing nothing. You're comparing yourself to a system that was partially designed to reward luck of timing. What matters is the direction you're moving, not where you started. Number two, your monthly cash flow. This is your income minus your expenses, and it tells you whether you're moving forward or backwards every single month. Track every dollar in and every dollar out for one full month. Yes, including those 3 Uber Eats orders you'd rather not think about. Your income side includes your take-home pay after tax, any side income, investment returns, rental income, everything. Your expense side is where most Australians get a shock. Rent or mortgage, groceries, utilities, petrol, phone, internet, streaming subscriptions, and most people have more of these than they realize. Afterpay repayments, gym membership you use twice a month, coffees, lunches, Friday night dinners that somehow cost $180. Subtract expenses from income. If you're left with a positive number, you have surplus cash flow. That surplus is your wealth-building engine. If the number is zero or negative, you've just discovered exactly why your savings never seem to grow. Here's what should motivate you. A $500 monthly surplus invested consistently at 8% per year becomes over $745,000 in 30 years. $500 a month. That's one less weekend away per month. That's canceling 2 subscriptions and making coffee at home 4 days a week. The maths are not mysterious. They're just invisible until you look. Number 3, your financial runway. How long could you survive if your income stopped tomorrow? Take your liquid savings, money you can actually access quickly, not your super, not term deposits, and divide it by your monthly expenses. The result is your runway in months. If you have $6,000 in savings and your monthly expenses are $3,000, you have 2 months of runway. 2 months might sound terrifying, but according to A6 Money Smart data, around 30% of Australians couldn't cover an unexpected $500 expense without going into debt. 2 months would put you ahead of a substantial portion of the country. Most financial experts recommend 3 to 6 months of runway, but even 1 month changes how you operate. It's the difference between handling a crisis and becoming one. Know your 3 numbers: net worth, cash flow, runway. Write them down right now if you can. Everything else in this video builds from there. Here's why most financial goals fail. They start with money instead of life. I want to save $20,000 means nothing on its own. $20,000 for what? By when? What does your life look like when you have it? Effective financial goals start with a picture of your actual life, and then work backwards to the numbers. What do you actually want? Maybe you want the security of knowing a broken down car won't destroy your month. Maybe you want the freedom to quit a job that's making you miserable without panicking about rent. Maybe you want to buy a home, even in this market. Maybe you want to travel without it going on a credit card. Maybe you just want to stop the 3 a.m. anxiety about money. Start there, with the feeling, with the life. Then reverse engineer the financial requirements. Want job security? You need an emergency fund and lower fixed expenses. Want to buy a house in Brisbane or Adelaide where it's still somewhat achievable? You need a deposit strategy, a credit profile, and a realistic timeline. Want to retire before 65? You need to understand superannuation deeply and probably build investments outside it too. The key difference between Australians who hit their financial goals and those who don't usually isn't income, it's specificity. Vague goal, I want to save more. Specific goal, I want to save $15,000 for an emergency fund by June next year by setting aside $1,250 from each monthly pay. Vague goal, I want to pay off my credit card. Specific goal, I want to eliminate my $8,000 ANZ credit balance in 18 months by paying $500 above the minimum each month. Vague goals give you nothing to aim at. Specific goals give your brain a target. And here's something important that most financial advice skips over entirely. Your goals need to be honest about your actual situation, not aspirational to the point of being unrealistic. If your monthly surplus is $200, setting a goal to save $30,000 in a year will destroy your motivation inside of 6 weeks. You'll feel like a failure. You'll give up. And the goal itself was never the problem. The timeline was. Better to set a goal you can hit and build momentum than to set an impossible goal and abandon the whole thing by February. Structure your goals across 3 timeframes. Short term, the next 12 months, build your emergency fund, pay off the highest interest debt, get your budget under control. Medium term, 2 to 5 years, save a house deposit, pay down HES, build a meaningful investment portfolio outside of super. Long term, 5 years and beyond, grow your superannuation intentionally, build investment assets, create genuine financial independence. The beautiful thing about multiple timeframes is you can make progress on all of them simultaneously. $200 to emergency fund, $300 to debt, $150 to long-term investing. Each small action compounds with the others. And here's the honest thing nobody says at the beginning of these conversations. You probably can't have everything immediately. The overseas holiday, the house deposit, the new car, the maxed out super contributions, and the fully funded emergency fund all at once, not on an average Australian income. The people who build real wealth aren't the ones who try to do everything. They're the ones who chose their priorities, stayed disciplined about them for years, and let compound time do the rest. Pick your targets, make them specific, give them dates, and commit. The word budget makes most people feel like they're being sent to financial prison. It shouldn't. A budget isn't a restriction. It's a decision made in advance about what matters to you. It's telling your money where to go instead of wondering where it went. The best budget isn't the most detailed one. It's the one you'll actually use consistently for more than 3 weeks. Let's talk about the approaches that work for real Australians. The 50-30-20 framework. Split your after-tax income into 3 buckets. 50% on needs, rent or mortgage, groceries, utilities, transport, minimum debt repayments. 30% on wants, dining out, entertainment, subscriptions, travel, hobbies. 20% on financial goals, savings, investing, extra debt repayment, super contributions. Now, here's the Australian reality check on this framework. If you're renting in Sydney or Melbourne, your housing costs alone might eat 40% or more of your take-home pay. That's not a personal failure. That's the market. You'll need to compress the wants category to compensate, or focus aggressively on increasing your income. The 50-30-20 is a starting framework, not a religious text. Adjust it to your actual numbers. Zero-based budgeting. Every dollar of your income gets assigned a job before the month begins. Your income minus your allocated expenses equals 0. Not because you're spending everything, but because every dollar is either going to current expenses or a specific future goal. This method is excellent for people who want to feel completely in control. It's also excellent for finding the invisible spending that leaks out of most budgets. The $14.99 subscription you forgot about, the $60 a month in random app purchases, the $200 that just disappears somehow. The pay yourself first method. This is the one most consistent wealth builders use, and for good reason. The moment your pay hits your account, an automatic transfer moves money to your savings, investments, and super before you can spend it. You live on what's left. This sounds simple. It is simple. It's also the most psychologically effective budgeting approach for most people because it removes the willpower requirement entirely. You don't have to decide every day to save money. You automated that decision once. Now it just happens. Whatever method you choose, there are 2 Australian-specific budget items most people forget to account for. HECS help repayments. If you have a university debt and the average Australian graduate owes around $23,000, your repayments come out of your gross income through the tax system once you hit the repayment threshold, which in 2025-26 sits at around $54,000. A lot of Australians forget this when budgeting because it comes out before they see their pay, but it's real money leaving your pocket, and it affects what you can allocate elsewhere. Irregular expenses. Car registration, private health insurance top-ups, annual subscriptions, Christmas, birthdays, holidays, the random $800 expense that always seems to appear from nowhere. These expenses aren't irregular in the sense that they're unexpected. They're irregular in the sense that they don't happen every month, but they always happen eventually. Set aside money monthly for them. If your car registration costs $900 a year, put $75 aside each month. When the bill arrives, you already have the money. This single habit eliminates more budget blowouts than any other technique. A final word on budgets. The goal is not perfection. The goal is progress. Your budget will fail sometimes. You'll overspend in a category. Life will interrupt your plan. That's normal. That's human. The difference between people who build wealth and people who don't isn't that wealthy people never make financial mistakes. It's that they don't let one bad month become an excuse to abandon the system entirely. Adjust, reset, keep going. If there is one concept in this entire video that changes your financial life immediately, it's this one. An emergency fund is not a savings account you dip into when you find something on sale. It is not a travel fund with a more responsible name. It is money set aside exclusively for genuine emergencies, so that when something goes wrong, and something always goes wrong eventually, it doesn't become a financial catastrophe. Most Australian emergencies cost between $500 and $5,000. Your car needs repairs, an unexpected medical expense, a dental emergency, a few weeks between jobs, a bond, and first month's rent when your landlord decides to sell your rental property with 90 days' notice. Without an emergency fund, every one of these events sends you to a credit card, or a personal loan, or a panicked call to family, or all three. With an emergency fund, these events become inconveniences, not disasters. The standard recommendation is 3 to 6 months of living expenses. In Australia, that typically means somewhere between $10,000 and $30,000 depending on your situation. If that number feels impossible right now, start with $1,000. $1,000 handles the majority of minor crises: your car repair, the vet bill, the emergency flight home. $1,000 changes your baseline from fragile to functional. Then build from there. $2,000, $5,000, 3 months of expenses, 6 months. The critical rule: treat your emergency fund contribution like a bill, not like an optional savings from whatever's left over, because there's never anything left over unless you make it happen first. Now, where should you keep it? In Australia, your best option for an emergency fund is a high-interest savings account. The major banks offer them, and online banks and neobanks frequently offer higher rates. Look for accounts with no monthly fees, no minimum balance requirements, and easy access. As of 2026, you can find high-interest savings accounts offering between 5 and 5.5% with bonus rate conditions, usually requiring a monthly deposit and no withdrawals. That's meaningful interest on money that's just sitting there protecting you. Do not put your emergency fund in your offset account if you have a mortgage. The temptation to treat it as accessible funds is too high, and it becomes psychologically merged with your home loan. Do not put it in shares or ETFs. The whole point is stability and immediate access. The market could drop 30% the exact moment you need the money. Keep it boring, keep it accessible, keep it separate from your everyday spending. And one Australian-specific thing worth mentioning: your superannuation is not an emergency fund. It is not accessible until you reach preservation age, which for most Australians is 60. The compassionate grounds and severe financial hardship provisions exist, but accessing super early is complex, tax disadvantaged, and permanently damages your long-term retirement wealth. Your super is your retirement. Your emergency fund is your emergency fund. They are not interchangeable. Build both separately for completely different purposes. Your super is one of the most tax-effective investment vehicles available to any Australian. Contributions are taxed at just 15% compared to your marginal income tax rate, which could be 32.5%, 37%, or 45%. Investment returns inside super are taxed at a maximum of 15% during accumulation phase and 0% in retirement phase. Most Australians treat their super as something that just happens to them. They ignore it, leave it in the default fund, and hope for the best. That is an enormous missed opportunity. The first thing to do with your super is consolidate. Multiple accounts means multiple sets of fees being charged on your retirement savings. Find your lost super through the ATO's online services or through MyGov. Consolidate into one account, ideally a low-cost industry fund. The second thing is to check your investment option. Most people are in a balanced default option. If you're under 40, you probably have too much of your super in defensive assets and not enough in growth assets like shares. Switching to a high growth option inside super, which is still lower risk than it sounds because super is a decades-long investment, can add tens of thousands of dollars to your retirement balance. The third thing is to consider salary sacrifice contributions. Pre-tax money goes into super. You pay 15% tax on it instead of your marginal rate. On a $90,000 salary, the difference between your marginal rate and 15% is 17.5 percentage points. On every extra dollar you salary sacrifice, you keep 17.5 cents more than if you'd taken it as income. That compounds over decades into serious money. Outside superannuation, next. For goals that come before retirement, house deposits, financial independence before 60, building wealth outside the super system, you need a separate investment account. In Australia, the most common vehicle is a direct brokerage account with a platform like CommSec, Pearler, Stake, or Sharesies. Inside that account, most Australians are well served by a simple 2 or 3 ETF portfolio. A broad Australian share ETF, giving you ASX exposure and franked dividend income. A broad global share ETF, giving you international diversification. Optionally, a bond ETF, adding defensive stability for more conservative investors or those closer to needing the money. That's it. 2 or 3 funds, regular contributions, dividends reinvested, leave it alone. The research is overwhelmingly clear. This simple approach outperforms the vast majority of actively managed funds over 10 and 20-year periods, after fees. Not because it's clever, because it's cheap, diversified, and you don't interfere with it when the market drops. And the market will drop. During COVID in early 2020, Australian markets fell over 36% in 5 weeks. By the end of 2020, they had more than recovered. During the GFC, Australian markets fell over 50% from peak to trough. By 2013, they had recovered completely. Every crash feels permanent while it's happening. Every crash has eventually reversed. The investors who lost money permanently were the ones who sold at the bottom in a panic and never bought back in. The investors who kept buying during the crash, who treated falling prices as a discount on future wealth, came out significantly ahead. Volatility is the price of admission for long-term investing returns. It's not a flaw in the system. It's a feature that rewards patient, consistent investors and punishes emotional ones. Australia has one of the best retirement savings systems in the world. Most Australians have no idea how to use it properly. Your employer is currently required to contribute 11.5% of your ordinary time earnings into your super, rising to 12% from July 2025. That's money going into your retirement account every fortnight, whether you think about it or not. On a $75,000 salary, that's approximately $8,625 a year going into super before you do anything. Over 30 years at 7% annual growth, assuming you never make a single voluntary contribution, that grows to over $850,000. But most Australians could do significantly better than that baseline. The concessional contributions cap, pre-tax contributions, including your employer's, is $30,000 per year. The non-concessional cap, after-tax contributions, is $110,000 per year, or $330,000 in a 3-year bring-forward arrangement. The carry-forward rule allows you to use unused concessional cap fees from the previous 5 years if your super balance is under $500,000. This is particularly useful for people who had career breaks, worked part-time, or are now in a position to make catch-up contributions. The First Home Super Savers allows first-home buyers to make voluntary contributions to super and then withdraw up to $50,000 plus earnings for a home deposit. The tax savings on the way in, combined with the earnings on the way out, can meaningfully boost your deposit compared to saving the same money in a regular savings account. Super is not exciting. It is not glamorous. It does not make for compelling conversation at dinner parties. It is, however, one of the most tax-effective, legally protected, compound maintenance, budget 1% of property value annually, so $8,500 a year, or roughly $700 a month. Your all-in housing cost, approximately $4,900 to $5,200 per month. A comparable rental in Brisbane, approximately $2,800 to $3,200 per month. The gap, roughly $1,800 to $2,400 per month, invested in a diversified WTF portfolio instead of spent on ownership costs, grows substantially over 10 to 20 years. Does that mean you should rent forever and never buy? No. Property ownership provides genuine value that numbers alone don't capture. Stability, security, the ability to renovate and make it your own, protection from rent increases and eviction, and in most Australian markets over long enough time periods, capital growth. But it does mean the automatic assumption that buying is always smarter than renting is wrong. In some scenarios, in some cities, at some price levels, renting and investing the difference is the superior financial outcome. The question to ask is not, should I buy or rent? The question is, what is the total cost of ownership versus renting an equivalent property in my specific market? And what happens to the difference if I invest it instead? Run that math for your situation, your city, your income, your realistic savings rate for a deposit. And if buying is 5 or 10 years away, don't treat renting as a failure. Treat it as a phase in which you build investments, grow your super, eliminate debt, and prepare to buy from a position of genuine financial strength rather than panicked FOMO.
Not all debt is the same, and treating all debt as equally dangerous or equally acceptable is one of the most common financial mistakes Australians make. Here's how to think about it. Good debt helps you build wealth or increase your earning potential over time. A mortgage on a well-priced property in a good location, in most Australian markets over long time periods, tends to produce positive financial outcomes. Not always, not everywhere, but generally. An investment in education or a skill that materially increases your income, even if it costs money up front, is typically worthwhile debt. Bad debt is money borrowed to buy things that lose value immediately. A car loan for a new $45,000 SUV. A personal loan for a holiday. A credit card balance accumulated through everyday spending. The asset deteriorates or disappears entirely. The debt stays and charges you interest for the privilege. Catastrophically bad debt is high-interest, short-term consumer debt. Buy now, pay later services, charging 20-30% when you miss a payment. Payday lenders, cash advances on credit cards. These products are specifically designed to feel harmless. Small installments, no upfront cost, while quietly doing enormous financial damage. Right now, approximately 7 million Australians use buy now, pay later services. The Australian Financial Review has reported that users are increasingly using BNPL for groceries and basic living expenses, not just discretionary purchases. That's a significant warning sign about household financial stress. If you're using Afterpay or Zip to buy groceries, that's not a budgeting hack. That's a sign your budget needs urgent attention. Now, let's talk about Australia's most unique debt, HECS Help. Your university debt is different from almost every other debt you'll encounter. It's indexed to CPI rather than a commercial interest rate. You only repay it through the tax system once you earn above the threshold. There's no credit impact if you're repaying through the ATO. And it goes away if you die.